Hello, boys and girls. This is Aunt Fernita, and I have a wonderful story for you called Sarah's Special Baby. Today's memory verse is from 1 John chapter 4, verse 7. It says, "Let us love one another, for love comes from God." The message for today's story is people in Christian families love each other. Do you like surprises? What is the best surprise you've ever had? Something special. Something you didn't know would happen? God gave Abraham and Sarah something special, and Sarah laughed. Abraham sat quietly in the shade in front of his tent. It was too hot, especially for an old man like Abraham. He gazed out at the pastures in front of him. Why, there in the distance, there were 3 men walking. It was much too hot for them to be out in the middle of the day. Abraham scrambled to his feet and hurried to greet the men. "Please stay with me for a while," he said as he bowed low before them. "I will have some water brought to wash your dusty feet. Rest under this shady tree while I get you something to eat." "Thank you," answered the men. "It will be good to rest." Abram hurried to Sarah and asked her to make some fresh bread. Then he told his servant to get some food ready for their visitors. When the food was ready, Abraham served it himself. He stood nearby while the men ate. One of the men looked up at Abraham. Abraham didn't know it then, but that man was the Lord. "Where is Sarah, your wife?" the man asked. "She's in the tent," Abram answered. Then the man said to Abraham, "I will be back about this time next year. By then your wife will have a son of her very own." Sarah heard the man and she laughed. "I'm 90 years old," she thought to herself. "That's much too old to have a baby." Then the Lord said to Abraham, "Why did Sarah laugh? Why did she say I'm too old to have a baby? Is anything too hard for the Lord? No. I will return to you next year, and Sarah will be holding her own baby boy in her arms." Sarah put her hand over her mouth. How could that man know her thoughts? There was only one way. That man must be the Lord. And what the Lord promised came true. Sarah did have a baby boy, a little baby boy of her very own. When he was born, Sarah told Abraham, "I want to name this baby Isaac because that means he laughs. The Lord has made me so happy I want to laugh all the time," she said with a beautiful smile. "And everyone who hears this story will laugh with me. I was much too old to have a baby, but the Lord gave me one. Praise the name of the Lord." The man was right. Nothing is too hard for the Lord.
This podcast was brought to you by Gracelink.net and Studio El Piso. For more children's resources, please visit Gracelink.net.